When you hear the word crisis, your mind probably jumps to scary headlines, conflicts, maybe some kind of sudden disaster. But what if a crisis is something more? What if it's actually a critical turning point, a moment that forces an entire nation to look in the mirror and ask, who are we and where are we going? That's the powerful idea we're digging into today. And our story starts in a really unexpected place, a tragic fire back in 1942. The Coconut Grove nightclub fire in Boston was devastating. It killed 492 people. But in the aftermath, a psychiatrist studying the survivors made a huge discovery. He found there was a short, critical window to intervene and help people recover from trauma. And just like that, the entire field of personal crisis therapy was born. And that brings us to the big question for this whole explainer. What if you could take those very same principles, the ones used for healing a single person, and scale them up to an entire country at a crossroads? Is it possible for a nation, just like a person, to face a turning point and actually come out stronger on the other side? To help us figure this out, we're going to use a really powerful toolkit. It comes from Pulitzer Prize-winning author Jared Diamond and his book, Upheaval. In it, he lays out a set of 12 key factors, think of them as diagnostic tools, to analyze how nations either succeed or fail when they face their toughest moments. Now, according to Diamond, a national crisis isn't just a big problem. It's that specific moment when all the old ways of doing things, all the old solutions just stop working. The pressure gets so intense that you have to find new ways forward. It's basically a moment of forced evolution. Okay, 12 factors can sound like a lot, right? But we can actually boil them down into 4 pretty straightforward steps. Step 1, you have to admit you're actually in a crisis. Step 2, you got to clearly define the problem without pointing fingers. Step 3, look around. See how other countries have tackled similar issues. And finally, Step 4, you have to tap into your own unique national identity and strength to pull through. So let's put this diagnostic lens to work. We're going to start by looking at the challenges Taiwan faces from the outside world. The ones that usually get all the media attention. To really understand the situation, Diamond gives us this incredible historical parallel. Finland, back in 1939, they were facing this massive invasion from the Soviet Union and had to make some brutally realistic choices just to survive. It's a comparison that really snaps Taiwan's current geopolitical reality into sharp focus. And this parallel kicks off a really tough debate around a strategy called Finlandization, essentially making political concessions to a bigger neighbor in order to keep your independence. For Taiwan, this is a super difficult conversation. It means acknowledging certain geopolitical realities, that's Diamond's factor number 12, but, and this is a huge but, it runs the risk of compromising core democratic values, that's factor 11. And to even consider it, you need a level of brutally honest self-assessment, which is factor 7. Now, this external pressure isn't just military. It's also about resources. Take energy. Taiwan's energy policy is basically stuck in a classic trilemma. How on earth do you balance national security, hitting net zero climate goals, and keeping prices low for everyone? Can you really have it all? And this table just lays the stakes bare. Take a look. LNG, or liquefied natural gas, is the biggest piece of the pie. But here's the kicker. Taiwan only has about an 11 to 14-day reserve on hand. So if there were ever a blockade, that becomes a massive vulnerability. It's this strange paradox where the push for cleaner energy has actually made the island more exposed to geopolitical games. All right, so now let's turn that diagnostic lens inward. Because Diamond's framework shows us that sometimes the most dangerous crises aren't the big, sudden shocks. They're the slow, quiet, gradual changes that can erode a nation from the inside out. This one number really says it all. 2025. That's next year. That's when Taiwan is officially projected to become a super-aged society, meaning more than 1 in 5 people will be over the age of 65. This isn't some distant problem. It's right on the doorstep. But what's truly mind-blowing is the speed of this shift. Just look at this chart. For Germany to go from aged to super-aged took 36 years. For Japan, it was 11. Taiwan is on track to do it in just 7 years. That gives its society and economy almost no time to prepare. And here's what that actually feels like. Right now, there are about 3.6 working-age people for every senior citizen. But by 2070, that number is expected to drop to 1 to 1. Just imagine the insane pressure that puts on healthcare, on pensions, on the entire workforce. Okay, let's talk about Taiwan's biggest strength, Semiconductors. There's this idea of this silicon shield, that because the entire world needs Taiwan's chips, it's basically too important to fail. But here's the paradox. That incredible strength is also its single biggest, most concentrated risk. And that shield is under a ton of pressure. You've got the US, Europe, Japan, everyone pushing to build their own chip factories, which chips away at Taiwan's lead. This kind of over-reliance on one single industry, well, that reduces national flexibility. That's Diamond's 10th factor. And of course, it makes your number one technology a top prize for rivals. So after running through all these external and internal pressures with Diamond's framework, what's the final diagnosis? Let's pull it all together and create a kind of national scorecard. Think of it like a national balance sheet. In the strengths column, you've got a proven track record of getting through tough times. You have rock-solid democratic values and world-class tech power. But on the challenges side, you have deep political divides that make it hard to agree on anything. You've got those severe geopolitical and resource limits, and there's a real slowness to adopt new ideas, especially on big things like immigration policy. So what does all this mean? Well, a crisis diagnosis isn't some prophecy of doom. Not at all. According to Diamond, it's actually a moment of profound choice. It's a chance to make what he calls selective change. And this right here is the key takeaway. Selective change is about building a fence. You figure out what your core values are, things like democracy, freedom, and you put them inside that fence. They are non-negotiable. Then you find the courage to take a hard, honest look at everything outside the fence and change what's not working anymore. As Jared Diamond himself puts it, a crisis doesn't have to be a disaster. In fact, for nations that have the guts to really look at themselves honestly, it can be the ultimate spark for rebirth and incredible evolution. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. When we're facing a huge national upheaval, it's so easy to look for simple answers. But maybe what we really need more than answers is something simpler, but a whole lot harder. The courage to see things as they really are, and the courage to choose to change.